Alright, so just in a couple minutes here, my thoughts on this Kaufman triaxle after owning it for 1 year. And I'll list the specs on this thing on the screen here. Alright, so here's the weight information on this trailer. So the GVWR is 22.5 and it's saying here not to exceed 17.2 of cargo. So 22.5 minus 17.2. So that means the trailer weighs 5,300 pounds. So kind of right off the bat with Kaufman, kind of the quality on these and the craftsmanship is a little lacking. It's alright, it'll get the job done, but just don't expect high craftsmanship. And I'll give you some examples here in a minute. And the reason I went with the tri-axle deck over is because I knew I was going to be doing a lot of side loading, and I wanted a deck over, and I wanted to be able to put it behind a single wheel pickup or even a tandem dual dump truck. So it's light enough to be pulled with a single wheel 2500. Probably a more comfortable match would be a single axle dual wheel dump truck. But some things I did, this came with a pintle hitch here, and I actually put this airbag on. I think this is from Shocker Hitch, and that really improves the ride quality on this trailer. Being a deck over, deck overs have a high center of gravity and they'll buck a pickup truck. So this airbag here really takes the buck out of that. So that's nice to have if you're running this behind a pickup truck. Another thing I like about this, I get a lot of use out of this toolbox. I keep all my chains and binders in here. It's very spacious. I'm not a fan of this. This should be like a sealed wiring harness. I think you can upgrade and get that, but this just feels cheap, and that's kind of what comes standard on this. I did upgrade to the dual 2-speed jacks. I highly recommend that. I love the dual 2-speed jacks. And the way this works, that's low speed, that's high speed. So you just push and pull to select your speeds. And those are drop leg jacks. I added these fork holders. I can stash my forks on here. One thing about these fork holders, if you're not careful, you put your forks on here, they're going to be over the legal limit for width wise. So make that clear to Kaufman if you pre-order fork holders, you know how thick your forks are, so maybe they could go in and keep your width legal. So this is kind of like a typical load I would have on this trailer behind a single wheel pickup truck. I have had about 19,000 pounds on this truck, on this trailer, not on the trailer, but the equipment and the trailer combined, about 19,000, and it definitely does fine. One thing I notice when you're strapping stuff down, this is kind of like a thin piece of metal, and you know, you get what you pay for. And with the GVW of this trailer, I understand why it is what it is, but this would be a lot better if this was like a C-channel plate, because you can see it kind of takes a beating and bends very easily. Like you can see where these chains and binders here are pulling this piece of flat bar in. A lot of people complain about these axles. These are Dexter 7K axles, but they're easy lube, so you just in these rubber fittings here, they pop right out, and then you can grease them up. One thing on the craftsmanship that I'm not liking on this thing, I fixed it halfway, but I still got to do some work to it. These ramps here are supposed to slide in and out on this big shaft. You can see where I've been sliding them in and out, but from the factory, they didn't cut the hole in this mounting bracket large enough to where it would slide on the shaft. So you can see where whoever was doing it, whoever was assembling this thing, they beat the hound out of this pin to get this thing to drive through these mounting brackets that are actually attached to the ramp. So, you know, that would have been an easy fix at the factory. Just take your torch or plasma cutter and zip the diameter out a little bit larger on these mounting brackets. But I took a torch and got that working. One more thing, when you go to slide these ramps here, this should be a better design. This spring here is like locked into place down here. It should be able to slide left and right on this, because that really affects how far your ramp will go. I mean, it'll go to a certain point, but then the spring will start to bind. These things are flimsy, but that's kind of on all axles. You just got to keep an eye on them. I'll keep those in stock. These bend pretty easily, as you can see. Like I said, you just kind of got to be gentle and take care of it. It's not, you know, it's not a 20-ton trailer by any means, but there's a spare tire right there, that's cool. That's a good spot for it. I do like how heavy duty those ramps are. A lot of times you see pretty flimsy ramps, but these suckers here are pretty beefy. Was that like 3 or 4 inch C-channel on the outside? They're heavy duty. I think the way this thing is set up, you can haul something that weighs about 17 or 18,000 pounds. Again, I'll have to post the specs, or you'll have to look at the specs on that. But for a load like this, I mean, this all day long on a single wheel. So overall, I'm happy with it. Like I say, you can't treat it like it's a 20-ton, because it kind of looks like one with this big I-beam frame, but you just got to realize that it's not, and kind of be easy with it. But we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I've had it for about a year now, and I'm happy with it. Besides the craftsmanship, I mean, come on, Kaufman. Like some of these hinges, just little, I'm very detail oriented, so little stuff like crooked hinges and stuff bothers me. But craftsmanship is lacking, but other than that, you know, you kind of get what you pay for. Kaufman is like the budget factory direct kind of set up. So that's about all. That's enough talking. So hopefully you can kind of see and understand a little better if you're in the market for one of these. I think they still make these. I don't know. They might not. But regardless, I know they still make the double axle. Alright, well, thank you guys if you watched this far. And if you have any questions, or I'll be very glad to answer them. I'm always going through my comments, answering my comments. So if anyone has any questions, leave them down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. So